Hey everybody. First off, I want to thank Tide Wee for paying for the show. If you need a pair of boots, a pair of waders, a new backpack, some hunting rain gear, look them up. They got some good stuff. Man, it's been a long season so far. I've been hunting just about every day, and I've been having a rough one. I passed one good buck that had one antler. I shot one buck through the back straps and didn't recover it. And I missed a couple going into this hunt. Last week I had a buck come in right when I was taken down to go home for the day. I had taken my arrow off my bow, put it in the quiver, hung it on a tree, and I started taking my camera off, and I heard a squirrel bark on the ridge. And I'm thinking, right at closing time, a squirrel barking on the ridge has to mean there's a deer coming. So I started staring over there, and sure enough, a deer starts coming. It's getting closer and closer and closer, and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I already had the camera in my pocket. I'm looking down, and it turns its head, and I see one big antler. And I'm thinking, well, it's that big one antler buck I passed, because it was the same area. But then he turns his head, and I see on the other side, he's got an antler that grows down and around. I don't know, from an injury or something, but really crazy, non-typical deer, and it's the first time I've ever seen him. So I pick up the bow back up, and I wait, and he comes by at 10 yards, and I go to pull the bow back, and there's no arrow on the rest, because I had taken the arrow off to pack up to go and forgot about it. I mean, what an amateur mistake. The thing's sitting there at 10 yards, and I'm sitting there with no arrow. This is starting to get frustrating. It's starting to get personal, where I just can't get it done for some reason this year. You know, I'll go years where a deer can't get within 40 yards of me without me killing it if I want it dead. And then you have years like this where you can't kill them at 10 yards. And you know, what really drives you nuts too is all the idiots on the internet who want to tell you that you're a horrible person because you miss a shot or something. I'm just going to start banning all of them, because they just don't have the experience to know that everybody has bad shots and misses. And it's already bothering a guy enough. Then you have to listen to those jerks, right? I thought, what do I got to lose? This buck's at 10 yards. I might as well just try and get an arrow off. So I go and I pop the arrow off, and it makes a loud pop noise, and the deer turns and locks up on me like this. And you know it's going to run. But what the hell at that point, right? So take the arrow, pop it on the string, pop it into the arrow rest, put my release on, and look up, and he just starts walking, puts his nose to the ground again, and I get the bow drawn back, and my peep had turned sideways. And I should have let the bow back down, but I thought I could make the shot 10 yards, quartering away, and I shot and I missed. Really? You know, it's been a hard season. Did I say that? But you know what you do when you have a hard season, when you have a hard time like that? You have to dig down deep, and you have to look back at your past and know that this is a fluke. You know, I can get through this. So you try harder. So you double down. Misses make me practice harder. You know, failures make me stronger. They make me see my weaknesses. So you take that long, hard look in the mirror, you wipe yourself off, you get up, you get back on the saddle, and you go back out there. So then I go back out, and I sit in observation stand and just sit back, where I don't think I'm going to shoot anything, but I'm going to see the farm and see what's going on, because there's a lot of animals running around. They seem to be showing up everywhere, and not quite when you're there. I start to notice a trend, that all these bucks seem to be going through this little funnel. We don't hunt down there much because it gets a swirling wind. We've got one stand down there, and every now and then we'll hunt it when we got the just right wind. But looking at the deer travel, it's right beside a doe bedding area where any kind of southern wind or southwestern wind has deer downwind of doe bedding. And I'm watching bucks come in and out of there from different ways. And in hindsight, that big one-antlered buck had come out of there. Something, I should get in there and give that a hunt. So we had a north wind that was blowing into the doe bedding area, but I still felt those bucks were going to cruise there, and that north wind, if the bucks are cruising vertical, they should come through there.
So I'm hunting Dave's farm, and it's a pretty risky move coming in here. The wind is not quite exactly where I want it, but there's a bedding area up here. There's a bedding area back there. There's some swampy open grass here, some swampy grass over there. There's a little point that comes out here. We have never hunted right here. There's a spot about 40 yards over there where there's a tree stand, and that tree stand has only been hunted once or twice. Maybe every other year for the last 6-7 years, and we've taken one big buck out of there, one big velvet buck, and I had an opportunity at a giant 8-pointer that we were hunting out of that stand, but just as I was about to release, he busted. So what's getting interesting is we're seeing 3 trophy bucks on this property right now, which is way more than usual, and we're running a couple cameras, and we've been hunting a lot and doing a lot of observation sits. Last night I did an observation sit right over here, up on that hill, and I watched a nice buck, one of the bucks on the camera, come over the hill and down right through here. I know he didn't go that way because I could see that valley from my tree stand. I know he didn't go that way because Dave was sitting over there. So I know he went through here. And looking at maps and looking at that point, it just seems so obvious now that we should have been hunting here. Then we had a camera by that stand that we only check when we sit it, and that was the first sit. So I pulled the camera, and the day before I sat there, the 8-pointer came right past the tree. The day before that, the 9-pointer went right past the tree. So the day I sat there, they didn't come in range, but the 2 previous days during that time period, they were there. But the point is, both times they went past that tree, they went through this funnel too. So now 3 days in a row, at least one shooter buck that I know of has gone through this funnel. Let's just hope they do day 4. This is kind of a risky move because I'm upwind of the doe bedding. My wind is getting in there a little bit, I can see that. I was hoping to cut it a little more over this way, but it never is exactly what they say it'll be. The terrain changes it, the thermals change, and everything else. I was a little worried about that. But anywho, I think the traffic's going to be cross traffic. So if the traffic's that way, my wind shouldn't bother it. They should still come through here. Well, I got a good feeling about this. Let's just hope I can deliver a shot without getting busted.
So I go down there and I set up, and got that wind blowing into that doe bedding area. And I had just sat down. And I look over and I see 2 turkeys coming. Well, I heard a branch snap, so I stood up and I look over and there's 2 turkeys coming. And I go, a couple turkeys. So I'm watching them, and all of a sudden, right in the middle of them, I notice a doe walking, and I don't know how I missed this doe. She's walking right by, and it's a mature doe. And I'm thinking, what is she walking around this early in the day for? There's got to be a buck following her. So I start scanning and scanning and scanning. I could see up the ridge a ways, and I don't see no buck. So she's coming right underneath me, so I turn the camera and I get it on and I'm filming her. Walk past, and I look back one last time, and right where I looked, here comes a nice buck. Now this buck comes in and he gets to 25 yards, and that doe gets down from me. And I don't know if she smelled me or if she saw me shift a little bit in my stance. She might have been looking at me because I was locked on this buck and she was beyond me. But I hear her stomp, and that buck just locks up. Then she trots off, and he just stares. And she goes that way, and he's over here. And that buck has not heard me. He has not seen me. There's no way he can smell me. My wind's going that way. I can feel it. And he's just staring where that doe went, ears perked up. And I could probably stand up and get a shot. You know, but he's slightly quartering to me. Between a couple trees, I'd have to aim out a little bit. But I'm thinking, no, last thing I need is another bad hit. A couple more steps, and you're in the open. And what buck is going to leave his hot doe? No buck, right? He's going to go through. Worst case scenario, he runs, I got to stop him. But he's coming through. So I get that camera pinned on that 10-yard spot where that doe went through. And I'm just sitting there waiting. And wait. And wait. And about 10 minutes goes by, and that buck turns and runs. Takes like 2 jumps, and then he's trotting. And I spin the camera around, get it on him, pull the bow back.
Oh my God, dude.
And I miss. I miss. Really? I do something to deserve this? Wow.
That's just enough to make a guy sick. There had to be like 15, 16 points, if not more, on that thing. It had stickers and crap all over the place. We don't have that on any of the cameras. Never seen that buck before. I was shifting to get ready to shoot him. He would have walked by at 10 yards, and the doe he was following busted me. There's no way he caught my wind. That doe stomping and trotting off spooked him enough he would not come over here. When he turned to leave, I got a 20-yard shot. I had to shoot quick, and I just plain missed. It looked like he ducked the arrow. He was pretty tense. I can't believe he didn't follow that doe. That's a smart old buck. I believe he's still over there. He ran into that brush over there, and I'd never seen him leave or heard him leave. Wow. That was crazy. Neither me nor Dave had any idea that thing was here. Maybe another buck will follow that hot doe scent in here. He kept looking back down his trail.
Tell you one thing, by the time this season's over, I'll be a stronger man for it. But I'm going to get it done. I'm going to use this for motivation, to push harder, to dig deeper, to wear out a few targets. I don't know, I got to get one with that bow. I don't know what's going on, but I come home and I'm splitting arrows on the targets. So I don't know what's happening. I can dress the same gear, I can get up in a tree stand, shoot the target. I can shoot the target at 10, I can shoot it at 20, shoot it at 30. I'm drilling the center. It's funny, you go 5 years in a row, you're just pounding every deer you see that you want to kill, and all of a sudden you can't hardly hit them. But it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. Mark my words.
Hey Rick, what's going on up there?
There's a hornet nest right between my legs.
In the ground?
Yes, they're in the ground, and I saw one fly before, and I thought nothing of it. All of a sudden I looked down, and there's one coming out of the ground and going.
Man up!
Buck up.
So you got your junk sitting right underneath the top of that hornet nest?
Unfortunately, yes. This really sucks, but I'm not